How's it, everybody? This is Brian.
I'm Ed.
This episode of Long Fins Live, I'll be interviewing Ed Corrales, aka Ed Royce. I've known Ed for a number of years. Amazing spear fisherman, free diver, all-around great waterman. So without further ado, let's get to some questions that I've compiled along with some questions from our viewers. All right, Ed, first question we've got for you. How long have you been diving and what got you into spearfishing?
Serious spearfishing 10 years ago. What got me into spearfishing was my good friend Brian Trinidad.
So Ed, please share with us who you think made the biggest impression on your success in spearfishing.
3 guys. The guy started me off, Brian Trinidad. The guy who brought me back into this game, Richard Tucker. And somebody that had teach me a lot, John Barreto.
What is your favorite fish to hunt and your favorite fish to eat?
Easy. Uku. All day, every day, anyway.
Can you tell us what you love most about spearfishing?
Just the peace of mind and just the eating, providing for everybody out there.
And one question everybody always wants to know, what's your average bottom time? How long can you actually dive for?
Usually total dive time average, I try to keep it 2:15, max 2:30. Total dive time on the bottom, I'll stay there minute at the most, maybe a little bit more just cause, but other than that, a minute at the most on the bottom.
Wow, that's such an amazing bottom time. I can only wish that I could stay down that long. So what I really want to know is, how deep are you comfortable hunting, and what variables do we need to consider when diving at depth?
I try to keep it at 60 to 80 feet just because of tangling on the reef, tangling on your rubbers, reel locking up. Yeah, just get out of breath really quick and you can just put your partners in danger too. So yeah, keep it shallower than your maximum depth.
Ed, I know you not only spearfish, but you also compete in the freediving arena. So what type of specific training do you do for freediving, and what kind of recommendations would you have for others?
Personally, for me, I do a lot of dry training for equalizations. I have tools for equalizations. I have aqualung, or something it's called. I use that for stress on my chest. And I do a lot of breath holding, go for maximum times. In the water, I try to get out there with a bunch of buddies on Sunday and dive as deep as I can, work on my technique, hold my breath. Basically is all I do.
Do you recommend anybody or anything that others could do to get those same results?
Take a free diving class. Kurt Chambers, Josh Manelli. There's a few people on Oahu if you're out there. Just gotta check the Instagram, Facebook, get in touch with a lot of free divers. You improve a lot big time.
And do you ever dive solo, or do you always dive with a partner?
For me, it's pretty much 60-40. I'll dive solo. Disclaimer, not trying to promote it or anything like that, but it just, I feel more comfortable that way.
So if you choose to dive solo, are there any additional things that you would recommend people do to make it a little safer?
Suggestions, maybe use a shorter tagline so you don't venture out too deep. Some people say cut your dive times in half and stuff like that, but for me, just be aware. I mean, you know your body. You know, fish is not worth your life. It should be all right. If you think your fish is worth more than your life, then you gotta have the fish. You shouldn't even be in the water. Period.
All right, so you do dive solo sometimes. That's okay. So do I. We have different rules when we do it. We try to be as safe as we can. But when we do get the opportunity to dive with a partner, do you have any favorite partners to dive with?
Pretty much, I dive with 3-4 guys. You, Mr. Tucker, Brian Trinidad. Just I just feel comfortable with you guys, and just fun, always good fun.
All right, so in the way of dive partners, yeah, plenty of people, they say they want to go dive. Some people you may want to dive with, some people you don't even want to waste your time with. In your opinion, what makes for a solid dive partner?
The dive partner that is the most honest with you and pays attention. Because a lot of stuff can go wrong out there, and if somebody you can say I dive 100 feet, I can hold my breath 2 minutes when you only can dive 40 feet in 1 minute. Is not fair to me, because I'll bring your ass all the way out there, man, and we're gonna dive that 100 feet for 2 minute drops, and I'll make sure I watch your ass and I can save your ass. You just better make sure you can save mine.
You've been diving a long time. Would you mind sharing with us the type of gear that you use?
Well, for me, fortunately, I earned a sponsor a few years ago, Red Triangle, a mom and pop out of California. They sent me this gun, still using to this day, Pathos Laser, open track, has a Dean Kutros addiction shaft, a double Tahitian flopper, and also have a horizontal Spirit Pro reel on it. I prefer the horizontal to the vertical, I guess, is because these ones don't jam as much, and as soon as you let go, it free spools. Perfect gun for good situations. I can use it shallow reef to pretty much onos. Also use a float and flag, which is very important for safety, especially certain places where there's high boat traffic. For taglines, I prefer just a regular rope. If you're doing a reef dive, you don't want to use a hybrid where it stretches, because if you get caught in a current, all that line does is stretch on you and you pretty much dragging heavy weight. For my mask, I've been had this mask for 5 years. It's the Omer X Max, I think, I forgot. But yeah, I like the regular J snorkel, no valves, less moving components, the better, the more safe you are out there. Belt, I use a regular Marcellus belt Kui. I use about 5 pounds of weight, no matter the situation. If I go deeper, I'll try to use 3. Most safety thing you could have is a knife. Make sure it's serrated on one side so you can cut some rope if you have to. And then I use fins, carbon fins. I used plastics for many years. Fortunate enough to get these from Red Triangle, and I just use them to the dirt. These things are pretty durable, even though with all the black tape and duct tape and stuff like that. Pretty simple. I also use a 3mm wetsuit during the summer. I'll just use the top if I have to, and if it gets really cold, I also have a 5mm.
Do you prefer to dive from the shoreline, or do you like to dive off of boats?
It's good to dive off the boat, but I prefer off the shore. Just more easy, no washing down after or anything like that.
So if I'm stuck diving from shore, I don't have a boat, I don't have any way to get on a boat, I want to make sure I get fish. How do you know where to go from shore? How do you find good grounds from shore?
For me, I kick my ass all over this place, especially on the Poipu side. I went out when nobody else was out there. I went as far as I could where I know there is reef where people tell me there isn't, and yeah, just you gotta get out there and just explore yourself. It's not depend on somebody else, because when you take a shit, you don't ask somebody else for wipe your ass, do you? It's basically simple as that. You just gotta get out there and find them yourself.
Do you ever use palu or chum to bring fish in? And if so, what do you use and what have you found works best?
Depends on the situation. If I'm going on the boat or on a kayak, I'll definitely bring chum. What I find works best is whatever you have in your freezer. It's good to have opelu and anchovies and econ and all of that. But if you got any scraps in your freezer or whatever fish you got there, instead of letting it waste in the freezer, you might as well use them as chum.
Okay, cool. So that being said, when would I use the chum when I'm out diving?
For me, I look for ledges or pinnacles, or just if there's a lot of bait in the water, I'll start chumming just to get the scent in the water. Hopefully, something big comes. Chumming is not, it's not roses and everything like that. It's a lot of work. You just gotta put your time out there, and eventually something will come.
So what if I'm chumming and nothing shows up? What should I do? Should I just
Then
keep
you
chumming?
move on, find another spot, get in your boat, get in your kayak, pack up, kick down, find the next spot. Good thing to look for is Opelukala. You find Opelukala, for me, drop some chum. Something usually comes around. The Opelus and maybe a rainbow runner might pop through, or even surprise uku. You just never know. Maybe even an ono might come swimming by. You just like I said, is even like finding your ground. You just gotta get out there and you just gotta put your time in there like anything else.
So you're talking about diving off a kayak. We're talking about diving off a boat. Do you ever dive blue water?
Not really. I prefer deep reef. If I ever want to go blue water fishing, I'll just jump on my friend's boat and we'll go catch an ahi or something. Much easier.
Most guys, they're just out there. If it comes by, they're gonna shoot at it. But there's a lot more to spearfishing than that. Ultimately we're being selective, and that requires targeting a specific species, which also means we need to know how to hunt for that species. So do you have any specific spearfishing tactics or hunting style that you like to use to be successful?
Depends on the species, everybody get their own style too. For me, I like to dive, look for a little crack in the reef, a little depression, maybe I could step up and I'll hide on that step up, try to blend in with the reef as much as I can, and do a lot of dusting for most parts of it. If you're gonna dive bomb, you want to try to be right on top of that fish on his blind spot, and hopefully you can sneak in before he sees you, which I think that is the hardest technique of them all, is dive bombing on fish. You can chum lots of ways, but for me, personally, I'll work it. I'll do 20 drops in 10 minutes. And my average drop time is maybe 45 seconds at the most. And then if something comes in, then I'll start to work it. Then I'll do the high dust and all of that. But for me, I'm more action than anything else.
So we had a question that was sent in to us by one of our followers, and his name is at freedive my305. So Ed, his question was, do you ever use flashers? What type of flasher setup do you use or recommend, and what kind of conditions would you use that in?
I use flashers once in a while. Depends where I am. If I'm diving the ledge, I'll use flashers. I have a homemade setup at home made out of 70 foot of rope and some plexiglass, I think. Yeah, it's just kind of difficult sometimes. I don't depend on it. I also use spoons. Sometimes I use those tubes with the reflective tape on it, but most times I use myself as a flasher, and I'll just drop countless times, and hopefully something big sees me and gets curious.
Another question for you submitted by at Kaipo Damon, and his question is, how can I improve over time, and how do you read a fish while tracking and lining up your shot?
Improve over time, you just got to get out there. If you're not bottom time wise or anything like that, like I said, suggested take a free dive class. But other than that, just get out there and just observe. Sometimes don't even bring a gun, bring a GoPro and observe everything, because everything out there, helps. Could be the tropical fish, the way they movements. If they're comfortable in the water, I'm pretty sure the predator is gonna be comfortable with you. So yeah, practice with anything. Just get out there and practice. That's all you can do. Don't worry about shooting anything all the time. Just work on your techniques and your style, your own style. Following me not gonna make anybody a good diver. Is what you get in yourself that can make you the best diver you can. But yeah, just keep going, buddy. And as for tracking the fish and all of that, for me it's close my eyes and I pray, and hopefully I shoot them. But honestly, it's just studying the fish body and understanding their behavior, and then that is what going and, like I said, observing is gonna do. It help you a lot.
Everybody on Instagram these days, everybody wants to be Insta famous. They want to be sponsored. They want to be tagging companies in hopes of being sponsored. So are you yourself an ambassador of any brands? And how did you gain sponsorship?
Yeah, fortunately I am. I got a sponsorship from a mom and pop shop out in California called Red Triangle Spearfishing. We met, got into a mutual friend. I got introduced. One day I was getting out of the water, had me a couple of shirts and said, "Hey bro, if you ever shoot fish, tag us, maybe we can work something out later." I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever." Doesn't, what, I never expected anything out of that, And then one day I get this call, like, "Hey Ed, this is Matt. I'd like to bring you on as a diver, and you can see in your Instagram, do this." And I was like, "What?" Something that I love. It's like, we cannot pay you, but we can give you some gear. And I was like, thank God, because I was on like broken fins. My gun was pretty much shot. I had like this wetsuit, 4 or 5 years old, puka smelling stink. I was so, I was thankful. And then after, it's all roses and butterflies and all of that, and then you realize, like, damn, now it's time to start work, and it's like, it gets hard, the pressure comes on, and that's why I kind of walked away from spearfishing for a little bit, because I was competing in free diving, and that in my mind, plus getting this sponsorship, was just so much pressure on me that I was like, it wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. I was like, every time I got in the water, I felt like I had to kill something. Like, literally, I never felt like that ever when I started, until like 4 months to being sponsored. I realized I never dove for 2 days. I gotta get in the water because I gotta put some content out there, not realizing that I could spread it out. And it's just how you take it. Just remember, being sponsored and all of that is not glory. It's not Instagram is not famous. It's just fucking social media. I do it just because I had family in the mainland. Just don't even worry about being sponsored. Just worry about feeding your family and enjoying your time out there. I had one guy said, just make memories. It's the best thing you can do out there.
What are your thoughts on ocean resource sustainability, and how can we ensure that there will be resources available for future generations?
Well, to answer this question as a whole, I think the most important thing we can do out there is education. To the beginning, from fishermen, troll netters, spear fishermen, longliners, everything. I know certain things are frowned upon because, all of this, but it's jobs, and, you gotta kind of look at it that way too. But as for us, on Kauai or state of Hawaii, us spear fishermen should be educating everybody else, because we see everything, right? We under the water more than anybody else out there. As for me, I try to take the most, the best fish out there. Not saying that I'm gonna take the last kumu or the last uku or something like that. But I'm gonna target something that I want to eat, and I'm gonna make sure that I only gonna go for that one species that day. Not every day of my life, but I'll just go for that species one day. I'll try to pick another species the next time, and you gotta work. There's everybody has their own view, their own thinking of conservation. But you just gotta do your part and not overtake, not take the babies, not kill a 1 pound taco because you like go catch your ulua or something like that. Just be smart about things because, like Brian said, it's for the keiki. Always gonna be for the keiki.
How do you think fishing regulations could be improved here in Hawaii?
Gotta start at the top. They gotta get out of this general fund deal and just make one for Hawaii wildlife and game, whatever it's called, because they gotta start doing something like Alaska or California. 5 guys for one island, I don't think is enough to regulate any laws that they make. It's pretty much like making rent-a-cops or something. I don't know. They need to do something better in enforcement. That's all I gotta say about that.
What I want to know and what other people want to know is, what is your most memorable catch?
Well, I had many memorable dive experiences, but the most memorable catch I had gotta be that sailfish. Happened like 4 years ago during the summer. We had a plan about going out to this certain spot with our kayaks, and I kind of fucked it up because I went drinking the night before and I couldn't get a kayak early in the morning. Luckily, one of my good partners saved me, let me use his kayak. Got to Rich Tuck's house where he was pretty much pissed and ready to leave me. Loaded up my yak and we were on our way. So you get to the spot, I'm thinking, oh shit, there's a little swell. This is gonna be fun. So you finally, I try to get out, I get whitewashed. Didn't lose anything, but I had to start over. Finally get out. We get out there, water's a little murky, so we had a hard time finding our spot. So we decide to get in and try to look for it from topography. And so we dive. Rich finds a nice pile of moose. He shoots one. We got fish to eat, so it's pretty cool. We finally find our spot. Chum, Uku's come around. He shoots a little Uku. I try to go down and shoot the other ones that's around. They all split. I wonder what the hell is going on. I reach the surface. Look at Rich. He's doing this. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So I kind of look past him. I go, oh shit, dog in the water. Somebody lost their dog. We gotta get this dog back in the kayak or in a boat. Started looking around, like, there is no fucking boat. There is no kayak. I don't hear anybody. I'm like, what the fuck am I seeing? I look back in the water. All I see is this black gold thing with a long nose. I'm like, oh shit, it's a marlin. I'm gonna shoot this thing. Not even like, that was what I was thinking. Not even physically. Then as I was thinking like, don't shoot it, I stick my gun out, I dip my face, and it's like, and that is the look on my face pretty much. I look at Rich and I just look down. All I see is this smoke coming out of my reel. Just bubbles and smoke, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. I just reached up, I grabbed the line, and I went for this crazy ride. I think it towed me for 20 minutes in like a huge circle. I found 8 tacos. I seen a ton of other fish, but I was being towed like a jet. I was skiing pretty much. Got to a point where I pulled up. I got almost to my swivel, and this stupid little gray reef came shooting up, wondering what the hell is going on. Silverfish was like, buddy. Put up his fins. The shark backed off. He put them back down. Took me for another ride. But at this point, he tangled my glove. Lucky I gloved that time. But he tangled my glove, and he like almost cinched on my finger. It just pulled off. So I'm holding, getting towed around. I'm just yelling, Rich, Rich. He's like, why are you yelling? I'm like, so you can find me, dude. They're like, oh, good idea. Because he lost pretty much sight of me, because where he was going, I was already going back to where he came from. So finally, after that 25 minutes, I'm like in 30 feet of water. Thing is just circling, doing the death circle, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for my knife to try and knife him. I reached down, lost my belt. That thing towed me so fast, it ripped the belt off my body. I was like, alright, how am I going to kill him now? Right there, Rich pulls up on a kayak, hands me the gun loaded. He was like, here, you got to back up, shoot this thing. I'm like, alright. So I kind of wrapped my line around the kayak. I grab the line, I start pulling myself down. As soon as I push my face down, I pull the trigger, I miss. Couldn't believe. I hear Richard at the top, you fucking idiot! Get to the surface, I had a hard time. I couldn't load the gun because it was an enclosed track gun. I never used one in my life. He had to reload it for me. I pulled one band. By that time, I already had it by the swivel, and I was pulling it up, just wrapping it. Shot it in a head, pretty much killed it. Dove down, grabbed it by the gills, pulled it up. Used Rich knife to brain him and bleed him. Let him go. Swam right up to Rich, and I gave that guy the biggest, wettest kiss of my life. I was like, holy shit. That is the craziest thing I ever experienced, ever gonna experience, I think. Yeah, I shot that thing like unconsciously. There was no way in hell I'll probably do that now, especially with the real gun. Maybe if I have a buoy setup or something, because they're really good eating fish, from what people don't realize, that they are good eating fish. But yeah, that was pretty much the most craziest thing that ever happened.
Thank you so much, Ed, for joining us today on Longfins Live.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I hope you guys liked the video. This is hopefully first of many episodes we're going to be doing here. Like, share. I don't care. You know, I'm not here for likes or fame. We're just here trying to share information, get some content, something different, something for you guys to be entertained, educated by. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see who we're going to interview. But today, I want to thank Brother Ed for coming out, sharing his time, sharing his stories and his info. And aloha, guys. Till next time.
Shoots!